I'm Professor Grimsley, and for the next few minutes, I want to introduce you to this course on the history of war. Um, we're watching a recording of a presentation using Zoom, or rather, you're watching it, which, as most of you know, permits users to place so-called virtual backgrounds behind them so that others won't see what lousy housekeepers they are. I'll be making frequent use of virtual backgrounds, partly to disguise how badly I suck at house cleaning, but mainly to introduce a new subject to make a pedagogical point. In this instance, I want to suggest first that the image behind me illustrates what comes to mind when most people think of war. Two armies locked in conventional, dramatic, desperate battle. And second, why people can be initially disappointed to discover that war is far more expansive than this image would suggest, and also quite different. So behind me, you see a gigantic painting of the Gettysburg Cyclorama. You can see it today at the Gettysburg National Military Park Museum in Gettysburg. And it depicts the climactic moment on the third day of this great Civil War battle, fought in July 1863, in which Confederate forces briefly but unsuccessfully pierced the Union defensive line. The attack is famously called Pickett's Charge, and this moment is often called the high watermark of the Confederacy, the moment in which Confederate fortunes peaked and then began to recede, ultimately to final defeat in the spring of 1865. Now, I say in part of this painting because the whole canvas is 42 feet high and 377 feet long, and it's circular in shape, so that viewers are literally surrounded by the painting. It's uncannily like being plunked down in the middle of this dramatic moment, particularly since three-dimensional objects, wagon wheels, ammunition chests, and so forth, are in the foreground, as is the cannon that you'll see over my right shoulder. It was created by the French painter Philippe Philippetot and five assistants over the course of 18 months, and first unveiled in 1883, 2 decades after the battle. Now, this wasn't the only cyclorama that Philippetot created. In the 19th century, cycloramas were a popular form of entertainment. The vast canvases rolled up like scrolls and transported from one large city to another, where they were again placed on display and transported from one large city. Where they were being again placed on display, and thousands of spectators paid money for the chance to experience them for a few minutes. It was like the 19th century equivalent of an IMAX theater. With the advent of motion pictures, however, cycloramas lost their popularity. Most were lost or destroyed. One was cut up to make tents. But the Gettysburg cyclorama survives. In 2005, it was thoroughly renovated and can now be viewed, as I said, at the Gettysburg National Military Park, Visitor Center, and Museum. This photo, in fact, was taken when some friends of mine and I viewed the cyclorama in August 2021. Now, war, as I said, is a much broader subject than this cyclorama suggests. And it has many aspects that come as a surprise. And this basic insight is central to the course. And so, depending upon the expectations that you brought with you to this course, you may initially find it disappointing that we won't be dealing primarily with great commanders, great battles, and great acts of daring do. But hang in there. We won't ignore such subjects altogether. And the things you didn't anticipate in this course may well be some of the things you remember most about the course when it's over. Now, I've discovered over the years that students like to know something about their instructor, what the instructor is like, and so forth at the beginning of the course. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Um, I've been teaching here at the Ohio State University for 30 years now. So I'm 62 years old. I'm probably going to be here for at least 3 more years, possibly a bit longer. I've been teaching this particular course since 2003. On a personal level, I am the father of a 10-year-old daughter who's about to turn 11 years old. She and her mother and I were recently dealing with some, hang on, there we go. Recently dealing with some difficulties with her and her mother getting back from Southern California, and that created a certain amount of turbulence and so forth. We've got that behind us now. What can I say? She's adorable. She really is. She's the greatest thing. She's the light of my life, and where partly as a result of responsibility, and a lot of it as a result of pure preference, is where I spend the bulk of my my time and focus and energy. I've done just about everything else in life that I would ever want to do, traveled widely, achieved pretty much everything I wanted to achieve. And so the last thing in life of any consequence that I'll be doing is raising my daughter to a healthy adulthood where she'll be well equipped to deal with all the things that life throws at all of us. Beyond that, I have a disorder, a mood disorder. It's called bipolar disorder. It's what used to be called manic depression. And once upon a time, I used to try and find a sort of a pedagogically appropriate moment in which to mention having bipolar disorder, but I've long since ceased to bother with that. And the reason is there are over 100 students in this class, for example, and statistically, of those 100 plus students, at least one has been or will be diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which is a mood disorder which sort of artificially raises and lowers the volume of one's moods, so to speak. And so this is a way, in effect, of reaching out to those students and to the many other students who have other kinds of mental and emotional challenges, social anxiety disorder, depression, any number of other things, to let you know that you're not alone, and to also let you know, to remind you, if you don't know this already, that it is perfectly possible to live a normal, high-functioning life, even grappling with this particular challenge. We still live in a society that unfortunately can attach a stigma to this particular form of illness, but it's really no different from any other form of illness. And I would say, to surround yourself with people who can deal with it positively and to be supportive, and to sort of quietly move out of your life people who are incapable of that. So, I can't help having bipolar disorder, but I find that talking about it openly and doing mental health advocacy work makes having this disorder in some way redemptive. In terms of the way that the course is structured, because it's an online course, many of the lectures that you'll be watching have already been recorded, and I use them with some modifications each time I teach the course. And this will now be the third or fourth time that I've taught it entirely online. And I found that I enjoy teaching this kind of way. The main thing that I miss is the personal contact with students, but I try to make up for that by frequently interacting with students via my office hours. And pretty much anytime that you want to get in touch with me, you can. We can set up a Zoom meeting and talk one-on-one. So that's the only aspect of it that I miss. What I find otherwise is that it offers me a way of getting at the material that's simply impossible to do in a regular lecture hall. I can use more videos more effectively for example, and there's certain sort of dramatic things that I can do that I can't do as readily in a class. And one of the things that's advantageous for you is that you can take this course anytime that you want to. In fact, that's probably right. The reason why many of you have signed up for this course, this way in the first place. The one big drawback to this or any online course is that there is a human tendency, common to just about all of us, to procrastinate, put things off. And so one of the ways that sort of the best practices of teaching online courses asks us as instructors to do is to provide frequent low stakes quizzes as we go along. I have mine twice a week. Normally, we won't do it this first week, but usually twice a week, there will be these low stakes quizzes. So, and this sort of obliges you to go through the material at a regular pace, so that when the time comes for a midterm examination, you're not simply, you're not just overwhelmed by the task of getting ready for the examination. So, to recapitulate just the last part. This is a course that will combine once a week, really, presentations that are directed expressly at you, which is to say the students that I'm having currently, augmented by presentations that are designed to be used in more than one semester to keep you on pace. There will be weekly low stakes quizzes. There will be other assignments that I'll talk about later and that are listed in the syllabus. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you before we move on. Probably there is, but I've been talking long enough already. So let me let you go for now. There'll be plenty of other opportunities to talk later. And again, welcome to the course.